Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's get down into it. Let's talk about the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy. All right, between the Army-Navy game, this is one of the games I look forward to each and every year to kind of put a bow on the college football season before we hit the 12-team playoff bowl season. This is going to be a good one, and I'm going to give you guys my best bets. Quite frankly, in a lot of locations, you can't bet college props, so this one's going to be pretty much cut and dry. We're going to go side and total, and I'm going to share with you guys kind of where I'm at in this game. All right, we have a great, exciting matchup, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit about this. Full disclosure, I am a Notre Dame fan, so I have a lot of experience and a lot of know-withal with this matchup, as well as both of these service academies that, quite frankly, do get to play the Fighting Irish every single year. So this is a good one. Let's talk about it, and if you guys are new to the channel, I get to see all the stats at the end of the video. At the end of the day, or whenever I look at it, I go back and research. A lot of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel. Quite frankly, it's something where this is a free service. I don't charge for picks. All I ask in return is you guys absolutely destroy that like button. Leave your picks in the comments. Talk to me down there, and please feel free to subscribe. It's totally free to do so. All it does is lets YouTube know that you like what I'm talking about, and that's what we're going to be doing here. Okay, so let's get it. Let's talk about the Army-Navy game. 3 o'clock Eastern, that's what we're going to be having. I believe it's still on CBS, kind of a tradition. And unfortunately, this would have been an interesting game if Army would have made the 12-team playoff. But unfortunately, Notre Dame took care of business for them, I should say. And that's kind of where it all stands. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the numbers. And to do so, we are going to dive into Outlier. This is my favorite site and platform to get into kind of sports betting data and analytics. Allows me to make the best bet possible. I don't overpay for wagers, and for the amount of money that I bet each and every bet, Outlier pays for itself, essentially. So if you want to try it out, 7-day free trial, links down below, okay? But let's talk about this game, all right? The Black Knights come into this game with the under hitting 4 of the last 5 games as a favorite. Now, some preface to this matchup. Historically, the way I've played this game since I've started basically betting, so dating back about 10 years or so, this was a blind under. It's a system play. I would always just take this game under, regardless of the quarterbacks, the running backs, who's going, to the NFL, who's going to fulfill their duties overseas or whatever, or fulfill their service. It did not matter, okay? A lot of times you get some narratives, and, Army has a different type of beast this year within Bryson Daly at quarterback. In prior years, Navy seemingly had the upper hand with Ken Niamatola, or however you pronounce it, forgive me. But this is something where you look into, they've had some NFL talents play for Navy within that kind of, kind of polarizing position, I guess you would say. Not necessarily a drop back thrower of the football that any of these teams deploy. But in this game, I think they're going to have to throw the football a little bit. And the thing that's interesting is I think Army is that good, okay, that they're going to put Navy in a very leveraged position. So if Army does get out in front, things are going to get weird and out of hand as the midshipmen look to throw their way back into this game. That's the only thing I don't like about this contest is when we do get this matchup and it is lopsided, it's pretty much despicable to watch in terms of football. If you're a football fan of good football, this is not a good game to watch unless it's one of those grinded out, played in the trenches kind of game where you just have so much respect for both parties, okay? But let's talk about this game a little bit, and some preface like I was talking about. The last 10 Army-Navy games, all right, have resulted in point totals under 40. And in this matchup, we do get this number set at 40. And if you want to talk about it even more so, it's actually 40 and a half that you can find. So the key number for me would be 41, 42. Right when you get in those 40s, that's when it really does take shape. Some backstory on this game, if you want to talk about kind of where it's being played. This has always been kind of a road trip for Navy. Well, as we look into it right now, coming from West Point is going to be a little different. But this one, in my opinion, I think is going to be almost a home game. Both parties will travel well, but this is almost a home game for Navy. I believe they're playing in the Washington Commanders Stadium, okay? So that's going to be something very close to Annapolis in that regard. So outside of that, guys, I think this is one where, Army, you could talk about maybe they're stock down right now at the moment in time. Me personally, I don't get down with that. I think they just kind of ran into some competition, okay? And what I mean by that is, yes, it happened, right? Notre Dame took them to the, behind the barn there, 49-14. Texas, San Antonio, 29-24. And then, obviously, Tulane kind of returned the favor where Notre Dame left off, winning 35-14 in a game where they were under a touchdown underdog, okay? And that's kind of been the interesting thing for this year, is in pretty much every single game on the season except for Notre Dame and Tulane, which Tulane cost me a bit of money in their game, in their championship matchup. So I digress on that standpoint. But this is kind of where we look into this game and where Army leaves off, okay? They were favored in every single game, so to speak, except for Tulane and Notre Dame, okay? That's pretty impressive. All right, so we're going to tip our caps to Army. Outside of that, I don't quite frankly care where the number is. I bet numbers, not teams. But with this matchup, I really have to appreciate the line movement, 6.5 down to 6, but I'm going to be on the side of the Black Knights here. I know it's a lot of value taking 6 points in a game where you get a lot of triple option, you get a lot of wishbone and kind of disguised runs and, pulling guards. It's going to be very fascinating, always to watch. Kind of this game being played in the trenches, and really every single foot matters, right? So there's a lot of things that go into this. It's a whole style, different brand of football. But for me, guys, the Black Knights in the side of Army, that's where I'm going to be backing Bryson Daly. I love taking the Black Knights here, -6. If you're going to get me off that hook and you're going to make that -6 available, I'm going to jump all over it. Right now, we're seeing the handle and the public are both on Army. So this is a big kind of decision, I think, being one of the – there's 2 games on tomorrow, but this is the marquee matchup that I think Vegas is going to capitalize in on. They're going to be pulling for the midshipmen, okay? Otherwise, Vegas is going to get stung, but that's kind of where I'm at, all right? And unfortunately, it is something where we're going to have to lay the number to get there, all right? So it's kind of concerning to me that the number is dropping despite having such large handle and amount of the tickets being on Army. But I think Army's the right side. I think they're the better team. I think if we look at Navy kind of where they're at, and I am going to pull this up for you guys so you can see it on your end. But one last thing, the Army Black Knights are 10 out of their last 14 games against the spread. So kind of concerning that we're seeing this number fall. But if we look into this a little bit more, so you can see kind of where I'm at in terms of the betting splits. 40.5 is the total. And I really just have to kind of lean towards the side. If you do like any kind of parlay building, Army money line -225, that's a great addition to any kind of parlay you're going to add tomorrow, in my personal opinion. Don't parlay often, but when I do, I always like to find winners straight up around that -$2, and that obviously will make a great mix, 4 or 5 legs, and that delivers at a very good plus money price, okay? Parlays are not full units for me, and when I do them, they're more fun, they're more lottery tickets, and if you guys are over on Discord, we do cash a pretty substantial amount of them. So when you're betting the way I bet, it is profitable over the long haul, but seasoned professional sports gamblers, they're going to kind of side to the side, right? They're not going to lay parlays. They're going to play straight, minimal teasers, and if they do, it's only 2 legs. So that's kind of where I'm at with all that. But so I do have a favor for Army -6. That number has dropped. That's a little bit concerning, considering that you could have got a 7 if you did like the midshipmen. So that number falling gives me some cause for concern. I'm going to play this a different way, a little bit of a bigger bet, because I do like the over, okay? Full disclosure, the large discrepancy within the handle, 68% of the money is on the under, and we do see the over getting the majority of the bets, the betting tickets, I should say. So when we talk about this, I talked a little bit about the recent trends, and I think there's some metric. It's like 16 of the last 18 Army-Navy games have went under. Sure, like I said, guys, systematically, I've always bet the under an Army-Navy game. For me, though, this might be a side where I'm on the side of the public, okay? I think that's 2 different clubs. I think that Army is going to be able to throw. I think they're going to be able to run. I think Navy's defense is pretty lackluster, and I think that with that being said, Army gets up to a significant lead, so I do think that if you are backing Army, it does favor the fact that I think Navy, conversely, should be able to put up at least 7 to 14 points. So if you like that, it's going to be close to the 40, I think, when it's all said and done, but we may get a shootout, in my personal opinion. And this is not something where it doesn't feel right not to bet the under, but both of these offenses have overperformed against neutral competition. When I say neutral competition, I mean teams that are not service academies that play that style and brand of football. I think Army has adapted. I think Navy has adapted. They're getting more so mainstream, but with the weight requirements for the service, it's been the story for decades now that it's been just very hard to compete outside of that style of offense that they play. There's sometimes a 100-pound difference between offensive linemen when you take it in consideration what an Army-Navy offensive lineman is versus, say, an SEC or Big Ten lineman. And that's really been the kind of the crux of the whole fair and equal competition. So they have to find a way to compete. And the way they do that is they run, wishbone, triple option, all that good stuff. So it's going to be fun to watch. I think that both of these offenses, averaging over 30 points a game, at different points of their season, it's going to be a battle. And if we look at some of the numbers, guys, we all know kind of how Army runs the ball incredibly well. Very efficient in the red zone for both of these clubs. This game is a very prideful game. There's no whining. There's no crying. It's just basically all heart every single down. They'll play to the bitter end. So it is an interesting matchup. Now, as we talk about Army, it's kind of interesting to talk about how many points they average and how many points they score per game. If you want to look at some of the common opponents as we look into this data, Army's scoring upwards of 30-plus points a game. We talked about Navy. They're averaging pretty much over 30 points per game. So this is going to be very fascinating, right? We have two ball clubs come in averaging over 30 points each respectively, and a total set at 40.5. Outside of just past performances and how historically this has always been an under, it's very hard for me to get on the side of the under looking at both of these offenses throughout the course of the 2024 campaign. So the numbers, the rankings, right? You talk about defense and scoring defense. Army definitely does that, but the competition has not been there. If we talk about the offenses, you can see kind of right now within scoring, it's on the lower side, but it's still something of efficiency that we have to talk about, we have to respect. And I think that both of these clubs, they do find more touchdowns than field goals tomorrow. So I do like the over, all right? And I do like the over. You can find a juiced up 40. So I'm going to be taking the over. I'm going to be taking Army -6. I'm happy that we lost the hook on that. So I do like Army -6. And also, I am going to be on the side of taking a same game teaser. Not going to complicate things. We're going to take Army down to a pick 'em. So give me that Army money line, and we're going to be taking the over 34. So another key number. So those are my three bets. Bigger play for me in that same game teaser. Probably going to do something along the lines of maybe 2-3 units and then a unit respectively on Army -6 and the over 40. That's kind of where I'm at. So it is going to be an interesting game. We'll see what happens. And it's the only game tomorrow. So let's enjoy it, understand what it's there for, respect it, and let's get ready for the college football playoff, which I'm geared up for. I'm excited. We'll have some videos breaking down those matchups and my thoughts early on, and then we'll have videos closer to game time as we see the numbers move and adjust, okay? So that's what we got. Appreciate you guys watching. If you are new to the channel, like I said earlier, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. Also, feel free to hop on over to the free Discord. And guys, this is going to be one where we're going to be moving into basketball very shortly, right? Football is coming to conclusion outside of the NFL playoffs and what we have left in a few games of the season. I'm geared up, ready to go because a lot of you guys do know me from college football or college basketball, and we're starting to get into that. I full disclosure, don't get into college basketball, hook, line, and sinker until pretty much football comes to a conclusion. So that's just me being who I am. It's very hard to handicap 4 or 5 sports, and if you think that anybody can do it, I challenge that person at their best because it is very hard to do 1 or 2, let alone 4 or 5. So I just kind of keep it 100 with you guys. I don't put picks out there, videos just for views, for likes, for clicks. That's not what I'm going to do. So if I'm not betting something, I don't make a video to talk about it. I will talk about the games, but I'll let you know that I'm not betting it just to give you guys my insight. But that's something where I like to devote my times to where I'm actually going to be betting, and it just out of goodwill, I can't, with a good heart, tell you guys something that is basically bullshit. So that's where I'm at. Army-Navy game tomorrow. Get excited. And 3 o'clock kickoff on the East Coast. And good luck with your bets. Also, if you want to become a channel member, there is a link down below. Join us here at TBM Sports. $9.99 a month. We don't charge for picks, but that's one way that we're going to do it to help support the channel. And I appreciate you guys watching. Help with the views, help with the subs, and we're moving. Okay, we're still in year 1 of this channel. It's been a fun ride, and I can't do it without you guys. So I really do appreciate all you guys taking time out of your day to watch every single day. I know Joey does too. He's been full-fledged in hockey, but I appreciate you guys. Good luck tomorrow. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.